The U.S. has proposed a bridging agreement. In other words, an agreement to bridge across the areas where Hamas and Israel did not agree. Those center on a few issues. One of those issues is Israel wants to maintain some presence inside Gaza. In particular, they want to have checkpoints that will prevent the flow of weapons from southern Gaza back into northern Gaza. Remember, Israel worked very hard to clear northern Gaza of those weapons and militants. Israel also wants to maintain some presence at the Rafah gate between Gaza and Egypt, and Israel wants veto power over which Palestinian prisoners will be freed. So those are some of the sticking points right now. We don't know if Hamas is going to agree to that bridging agreement. Notably, Hamas has a new political leader, Yahya Sinwar, because Hania was assassinated in Iran. And Sinwar is inside Gaza, so it's a little bit more difficult to deal with him as a negotiator. Obviously, he has proxies standing in for him for these negotiations, and there are going to be meetings to resume the talks towards a ceasefire in Cairo next week. And hopefully, as President Biden said, they're really close and they can get over the hump and get an agreement in place.
Now, all of these conversations and this push to get that deal done comes as threats by Iran and Hezbollah to launch attacks inside Israel only seem to be ramping up over the last couple of weeks. Does a ceasefire deal stop Iran from retaliating or at least limit the scale of a potential attack that we might see?
Well, it definitely has put more pressure on Israel to accomplish a ceasefire because Iran has suggested maybe they won't retaliate if a ceasefire happens. And the U.S. is pushing very hard against Iran doing a retaliation, basically suggesting to Iran, you're going to interfere with the potential for a ceasefire. Iran has its own reasons still to do a retaliation separate and apart from these ceasefire negotiations. And there are many inside Iran, especially the hardline leaders, who want to do a retaliation regardless of the ceasefire. But it seems like if a ceasefire is accomplished this week, maybe Iran will hold off on doing a retaliation.
And today, Israel is claiming responsibility for a strike on Hezbollah in Lebanon that killed 10 people, believed to be among the deadliest attacks on Lebanon since October 7th. How likely are strikes like this to derail ceasefire negotiations?
I think they also have the potential to derail the ceasefire negotiations, and they also have the potential to inflame further the tensions between Hezbollah and Israel and possibly open up a northern front for Israel. So that's also something that the U.S. is watching very closely. The hope is that strikes like this are intended by Israel to accomplish some of the strategic objectives of reducing Hezbollah's ability to build weapons, to store weapons before a ceasefire is accomplished, because they would be more reluctant to do such strikes after a ceasefire.
Yeah, certainly. Hopefully we'll get some closure on that deal in the coming days. We hear more talks are happening this coming week. David Tafuri, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now stay with us.